What's your New Year's resolution? Was that to spend a little less on your grocery list? If so, we got terrible news to share. If you think buying food is expensive today, wait until you see what's coming. Buy food now, since by 2023, prices for groceries will have skyrocketed and the situation will only get worse. What can we expect from 2023? So that's what this video will explore, and we have a lot to talk about. Sadly, the start of the new year won't change a lot of the factors that have contributed to the increase in food prices. Food business executives have now delivered a grave warning to all Americans after a year of record-breaking price rises. Executives from food sector have just issued a grave warning to all. Buy food now, since supermarket prices will rise significantly and conditions will only get worse in 2023. The United States Department of Agriculture's Economic Research Service predicts that in 2023, the price of all foods will rise between 3.5 and 4.5%. The price of food consumed at home will rise between 3.0 and 4.0%, and the price of food consumed away from home will rise between 4.0 and 5.0%. If the forecast is accurate, it will be considerably slower growth than what we've witnessed this year, but it still means that grocery prices will rise. In a new statement from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, it was said that food prices are likely to climb more slowly in 2023 than in 2022, but still at above historical average rates. Since the hyperinflation crisis that characterized the 1970s, 2022 has witnessed some of the greatest price rises for American consumers. An additional 20% was spent more on beef, 40% more on eggs, 17% more on breakfast cereal, 11% more on peanut butter, 42% more on gas, 27% more on electricity, 32% more on propane, kerosene and firewood, and 12% more on appliances than the average. Consumers in the United States have recently experienced a lack of certain goods and brands, increasing shopping costs and higher living costs. The cost of housing, food, fuel, and electronics is higher in America. The high cost of commodities, raw materials, and fertilizers is deterring farmers from planting and caring for their crops. Industry insiders warn that grocery bills may increase even more after a year of paying the highest food prices in almost 4 decades. Already, 50, 60, and 70% price increases are threatening millions of American households. An Urban Institute study found that due to increased cost, more than 1 in 5 American families experience food insecurity. 71% of American households are finding it difficult to keep up with rising food costs. 41% say they will change how they shop if prices rise, and 51% have already noticed empty shelves at their neighborhood stores. Increasing inflation forced American households to spend an additional $445 each month to purchase the same goods they did the previous year, according to a Moody's analytic estimate. Executives in the food industry also predict that in 2023, situations will worsen. Almost 24 months of disruptions to the food supply chain and agricultural productivity are likely to be reflected in the upcoming wave of price increases, preparing our pockets for another blow. Winter price hikes are anticipated, according to food suppliers, farmers, business insiders, retail CEOs, and restaurant chains. Hormel Foods made a more ominous prediction. This winter will see higher retail pricing as a result of rising costs for corn and soybean meal used as livestock feed. Farmers, business leaders, and government agencies are concerned that the current grocery shortage and bare shelves won't get any better. Everything's getting more expensive if you thought you were paying too much on necessities. This summer, supermarket prices will jump and widespread shortages will affect Americans for the second year in a row as the food supply falters and more farmers give up on the crops because of rising costs. Since the United States is a major producer of both wheat and corn, it'll be protected from some of the shortages and price increases occurring throughout the world. But this year's events demonstrate how much the typical American shopping basket can be impacted by what happens in the rest of the world. The Dalhousie University Report. According to the Canada Food Price Report, which was released by Dalhousie University, the University of Guelph, the University of British Columbia, and the University of Saskatchewan, food costs would rise by between 5 and 7% in 2023. Let's just consider a typical 4-member family. According to the report, they spent more than $15,000 on food in 2017, an increase of about $500 from the previous year. It appears that this figure will increase by more than $15,000 in 2023. Given that food costs are expected to rise by as much as 7% in 2019, the new analyst predicts that a family of 4 in Canada will spend roughly $16,288.41 on food in 2023, an increase of $1,065.60 from 2022. Price increases of between 5 and 7% are expected for all commodities, including meat, dairy, fruits, and vegetables. Of all the food groups, vegetables costs are predicted to rise by the greatest, between 6 and 8% in 2023. Following a 10% increase in 2022, the prediction for food prices for 2023 indicates a minor slowdown in growth. In the previous year, food costs skyrocketed and rose as the quickest rate in 41 years. The most recent increases in food cost was 10.1% in October, according to Statistics Canada, a little decrease from the 10.3% increase seen in September. Food bought from stores, however, continued to rise at a greater rate than all other products included in the Consumer Price Index, rising 11%. In October, prices for eggs increased by 13.8%, lettuce by 30.2%, margarine by 40.8%, and fresh and dry pasta by 44.8%. 4 to 6% price increases are anticipated for meat, dairy, and baking. 4% to 6% more will be spent on restaurants. 3% to 5% more on fruit, and 4% to 6% more will be spent on seafood. It was tough to overlook food inflation in 2022, and we should anticipate more of the same in 2023. All types of food essentials are now more expensive due to supply chain disruptions, increased fuel and shipping costs, and the crisis in Ukraine. Food import costs are rising as a result of climate changes, effects on important crops, and the Canadian currency's decline against a strong US dollar. What leads to the price hike? Grocery shopping was completely changed in 2020 and 2021 by anxiety and safety concerns brought on by the global epidemic. The health issue was overshadowed in 2022 by roaring inflation and a protracted period of supply chain problems. After COVID-19 struck, a protracted and comfortable period of low interest rates and little inflation abruptly came to an end. Governments and central banks had provided trillions of dollars in assistance to keep locked-down consumers and companies viable. The economic boom produced an increase in energy prices. Idle factories were unable to ramp up quickly enough to meet demand. COVID-safe regulations led to a labor shortage in the retail, transportation, and healthcare industries. All that stimulus money overflowed the global trade system by 2021, when lockdowns were lifted and the global economy grew at its quickest rate following a recession in 80 years. The effects of Russia's invasion of Ukraine are likewise very significant. Russia and Ukraine provide 15% of the world's maize and 30% of its grain. Due to the potential output declines in Ukraine, the protracted conflict may cause a global food crisis in 2019. Additionally, exports of fertilizer have already been substantially hampered, which will have an effect on global food production in 2023. The aftermath. Although the Consumer Price Index has slowed down recently, although less so in the food-at-home section, inflation is still high as we enter a new year. Grocery stores continue to struggle with their supply chains, and customers occasionally experience shortages in certain product categories. In addition to lower gas prices, consumer spending and employment have remained solid over the holiday season. What's in store for the post-holiday consumer market, which normally slows down after the seasonal upswing? And how might it influence the world economy in 2023 are unclear. Recession is predicted by numerous economists. The pandemic experience and its ongoing effects have, on the plus side, trained food merchants and suppliers to quickly adjust to and profit from change. Whether there'll be a different prevailing grocery store in 2023 is difficult to predict at this moment. In interviews, business experts highlighted the effects of inflation, pointing out that despite a slight decline in prices, many customers are still experiencing financial strain from months of having to pay more for food and other items. It will likely take some time for the financial hardship caused by rising food costs to subside. That's terrible news for some families who claim they are at a loss for how to reduce their grocery expenses more. You'll probably pay more later if you wait to buy anything if you know you'll need it in the upcoming months. It's only the beginning. Networks of domestic supply are insane. We won't soon wake up from this inflationary nightmare. More delays, scarcities, rising prices, and unanticipated shocks will arrive in the second part of this year, because things are going to get busy quickly. Stock up now.